Hello guys, I'm Tom, and today we're going to see what the stuff is. Among the strangest, most disturbing, and at the same time, fascinating creatures that emerged in 1980s science fiction and horror cinema, few managed to leave as indelible a mark as the infamous killer yogurt, internationally known as the stuff. Yes, it sounds absurd and almost ridiculous at first glance. A dessert capable of terrifying people. Who would have thought? But believe me, it's no joke. What makes this organism memorable is not only its seemingly harmless appearance, but also the perfect combination of horror, social satire, and critical commentary that director Larry Cohen infused into the film. This being shrouded in an aura of mystery, and with an aesthetic that deceives the viewer, presents itself as a delicious and seemingly harmless dessert. Creamy, white, seductive, irresistible. But behind that sweet and appetizing facade lies a ruthless parasite, a conscious organism that not only invades its victims, but transforms them in grotesque and terrifying ways. Once ingested by humans or animals, the stuff begins a process of internal colonization. It devours its host from the inside, controls its mind, alters its behavior, and turns it into a kind of zombie, a living shell of the being it once was. When it decides to emerge, it does so in a painful and violent manner, leaving scenes that could chill any viewer to the bone. It's no wonder that, despite its seemingly absurd premise, the stuff has earned an indelible place among the most memorable antagonists of 1980s cinema. In this analysis, we will delve deeply into everything surrounding this unique creature. We will examine its story within the film, break down its appearance, behavior, abilities, weaknesses, and motivations. Additionally, we will explore the production decisions that made this monster come to life, including the influences and references Larry Cohen drew from genre classics, from Alien to The Blob and The Thing from Another World, adapting them with his characteristic dark humor and social critique. The stuff functions as a parasitic organism that is not only the central antagonist of the film, but also serves as a mirror of the consumerist society of the time. Its design, reminiscent of ice cream or yogurt, is deliberately deceptive. Its innocent appearance contrasts with the internal violence it unleashes. By ingesting it, the victim undergoes a transformation that is both physical and psychological. The creature alters the mind and habits of its host, turning them into a slave to their own addiction, and eventually into a grotesque puppet of an entity that seems to relish their destruction. The narrative begins with an unexpected discovery. A group of miners finds a strange whitish substance emerging from underground. The bubbling mass, similar to yogurt, is not only visually appealing but also sweet and addictive in taste, instantly captivating anyone who tries it. This immediate fascination attracts the attention of a greedy corporation, which sees in the stuff the perfect opportunity to generate profits. The substance is quickly marketed in ice cream containers under the name The Stuff, promoted as a revolutionary food. Low in calories, delicious, seemingly safe, and capable of satisfying any consumer. The craze for this product spreads rapidly across the United States, even affecting the competition from other ice cream companies, who feel threatened by this new sensation. This is where David Rutherford, MO, comes into play, a former FBI agent turned industrial saboteur. Hired by industry leaders and by Evans, the fast food magnate, Rutherford has a clear mission: uncover the true nature of the stuff and eradicate it before the catastrophe spreads. As he delves deeper into his investigation, Rutherford discovers that the substance is much more than a simple dessert. It is a conscious organism, capable of manipulating and devouring its victims from within, turning them into zombies controlled by the creature, leaving only empty, deformed shells of what they once were. Rutherford also faces the bureaucratic and complicit side of the horror. He tries to understand how such a dangerous product managed to gain approval from the Food Administration Office. His contact with Becker's, an agency official, reveals that the substance passed inspections because it appeared completely harmless, in addition to being protected as a trade secret. This revelation adds a satirical commentary on corporate greed and negligence, a recurring theme in Cohen's filmography. Meanwhile, a boy named Jason senses the threat of the stuff and tries to warn his family and community. However, with his loved ones already under the substance's control, they react violently toward him, forcing him to confront his first major dilemma: save his family or save himself. His attempts to alert the community even lead to a brief arrest, after causing minor chaos in a supermarket, demonstrating how childhood perception and innocence can dramatically contrast with adult blindness and greed. During his mission, Rutherford develops a bond with Nicole, the product's marketing manager. Their relationship becomes a key alliance. When she realizes the true threat posed by the substance, she decides to join his cause, adding intelligence, resources, and empathy to the mission. Together, they travel to Stoddard, Virginia, the supposed origin of the stuff, where they meet Charles Hobbs, a yogurt shop owner who tells them how his family was zombified after consuming the substance and how the corporation seized his business. The tension and horror intensify when they are attacked by the staffs, victims zombified by the parasite, forcing them to fight for their lives while discovering the full magnitude of the threat. The investigation reveals the dark secrets of the corporation. Fletcher, its original owner, was fully aware of the danger posed by the stuff, but greed and the desire for global expansion drove him to continue distributing it without restraint. Rutherford and his team uncover even more alarming plans. Multiple companies intend to sell the substance internationally, promoting a utopia of endless satisfaction and profit while hiding its true parasitic nature. Its exact origin remains a mystery, but it is known that the substance is packaged directly from a natural lake, adding an element of ecological and biological horror to the story. The film's climax is a spectacle of tension, horror, and satire. Jason, Nicole, and Rutherford manage to infiltrate the distribution facilities, confronting hordes of zombified victims, while devising a daring plan to stop the creature's expansion. Their solution: destroy the source lake with explosives, a desperate act to save the world from an organism that, disguised as a dessert, symbolizes both the naivety of the public and corporate greed. In this finale, the stuff functions not only as a terrifying antagonist, but also as a grotesque and biting reminder of the dangers of blind consumerism and industrial manipulation. Meanwhile, Colonel Malcolm Grome Spears, a retired military veteran with decades of experience in warfare and combat tactics, begins organizing and leading a small but highly disciplined improvised army. His objective is clear and singular: to eradicate the zombies that have fallen under the control of the deadly organism known as the stuff. With an almost obsessive rigor, Spears selects his men, training them rapidly in strategies for containment and elimination of the threat, fully aware that any mistake could mean their own death. Every action is meticulously planned, from reconnaissance patrols to coordinated ambushes against the staffs. The colonel ensures that his small army is more than a group of armed civilians. It becomes an organized strike force, driven by duty and survival. Meanwhile, David Rutherford manages to infiltrate the lake where the substance emerges, posing as an innocent worker. With a mix of cunning, experience, and nerves of steel, he moves among the bubbling, sticky mass, avoiding detection by the first zombies patrolling the area. There, he strategically places explosives, studying the terrain and the most critical points to maximize the effect of the detonation. When the explosives finally go off, the lake turns into chaos of foam and steam, destroying the substance at its main source and eliminating a large portion of the threat. But Rutherford does not stop there. Taking advantage of the confusion, he manages to steal a truck loaded with the substance, securing irrefutable proof of its danger and leaving tangible evidence for future investigations and warnings. After the destruction of the lake, Rutherford assesses the situation and realizes that the area is still infested with zombies controlled by the creature. Knowing he cannot face the magnitude of the threat alone, he contacts Colonel Spears and explains the full extent of the danger. Understanding the gravity of the scenario, Spears organizes a national emergency broadcast. From his base, he sends a message to the public, warning about the deadly risks of consuming the substance and recommending that all containers be destroyed by fire. To everyone's surprise, the campaign works. A large portion of the population resists the addiction and avoids falling under the control of the stuff, demonstrating that information, awareness, and coordinated action can overcome even such an insidious enemy. Nicole, Rutherford, Jason, and Colonel Spears are celebrated as national heroes for their bravery, ingenuity, and determination. However, the battle is far from over. Rutherford finally confronts the businessman responsible for extracting and distributing the substance, Mr. Fletcher. During a tense exchange, Fletcher reveals that the destruction of the lake has not stopped his business. The stuff emanates from multiple underground points, and he plans to continue harvesting and selling it, driven by greed and boundless ambition. Rutherford, with unwavering determination and a sharp sense of justice, warns him that he will do everything in his power to eliminate the threat, regardless of obstacles or personal threats. Later, he meets with Mr. Evans, who originally hired him to investigate the substance. Fletcher, now under Evans' orders, reveals that they have developed a new product called the Taste, composed of 88% conventional ice cream and 12% of the dangerous substance. According to them, this version will be highly addictive, though supposedly incapable of controlling or devouring consumers, or so they claim. The greed and arrogance of the businessmen infuriate Rutherford. With firmness and a mixture of indignation and poetic justice, he points his weapon and, alongside Jason, forces the magnates to consume the containers of the substance as punishment for the lives they took and for attempting to profit again from a deadly danger. As the businessmen ingest the mixture, Rutherford cannot resist a sarcastic and biting comment. "Are you eating the substance, or is it eating you?" The scene is charged with tension, irony, and symbolic justice. After the lesson, both magnates are handed over to the police, closing a cycle of accountability and retribution. Still, the film leaves a disturbing ending, keeping the viewer with a knot of anxiety in the stomach. In the first post-climax scene, a group of smugglers continues selling the substance on the black market, and one of them tries it, showing that despite the hero's efforts, samples are still circulating. In the post-credits scene, a woman is shown taking a bath while holding a container of the substance, admitting with delight and dependency that she cannot stop consuming it. The message is clear and unsettling. The danger of killer yogurt never completely disappears, remaining a latent threat in society. Beyond the narrative, it is fascinating to delve into the creature itself and director Larry Cohen's vision. The stuff appears as a foamy, white, viscous mass, with a texture that oscillates between liquid and solid, evoking the sensation of thick yogurt or melted ice cream. Its exact origin is never revealed, although Cohen suggested in interviews that it could be extraterrestrial. Some fans even speculate that it might be an ancient organism, silently hibernating in the depths of the earth, waiting for the right moment to emerge and spread. At first glance, the stuff seems harmless, sweet, appetizing, and above all, irresistible. However, its true power lies in its intelligence and cunning. It not only seduces those who consume it, but also controls and transforms them into obedient zombies, known as stuffies or staffs, creatures that seek to expand the substance's influence and eliminate any threat to its spread. Once a zombie is no longer useful, the stuff devours it from the inside, emerging in a grotesque and terrifying manner, as seen in the death of Charlie Chocolate Sparks or in the failed attacks on Nicole. The creature is not limited to manipulation. In environments with enough substance, it can move and attack directly, eliminating victims quickly and efficiently. Its vulnerabilities are specific but critical. Fire, electrocution, and powerful explosives can destroy it without difficulty. While its intelligence does not surpass human levels, its survival instinct and manipulative ability make it a formidable enemy. Larry Cohen conceived the stuff as a parody of classic horror films, but also as a biting critique of the rampant consumerism of the 1980s. As he explained, I was inspired by the greed and excessive consumption of large corporations. Many harmful products were sold, and even when withdrawn due to their harmful effects, people continued to consume them. I took that idea and combined it with the obsession with junk food. That's why I chose for the substance to be a fictional ice cream or yogurt, deadly and addictive, consumed by millions who cannot stop eating it, even to the point of killing them. Ultimately, the story of Rutherford, Spears, Nicole, and Jason is not only an action and horror tale, but also a grotesque and biting reminder of the dangers of greed, addiction, and mass manipulation, personified in a creature that, under its seemingly harmless dessert facade, embodies one of the most memorable terrors of 1980s science fiction and horror cinema.